The man took me and said, let us go to Zimbabwe where you'll be initiated. Then I said, we go. Then we just had a funeral because you are going to use the spirit of the dead. You know, these are just demons in different titles and different names. And they said, we are going to use the spirit of the dead. And I said, no, it's fine. And then we waited for a midnight. And they said, now is the time. You know, these people, when they come, they just tell you to do something. And if you decide to stop in the middle of it, they tell you it's either you will be mad, it's either you will lose your sight, it's either something bad will happen. They came in the middle of the night and said, now is the time, let's go. And I stood and said, I'm going. And they said, take off your clothes. I said, what do you mean? Said, undress. And I had to undress. And they gave me a white cloth and we went outside. It was very dark. And when we reached by the graveside, they said, take off your clothes. You have to be naked. I said, you mean I have to take everything? They said, yes. Then I took everything. I was naked. Now they said I have to lie down on the grave, naked as I was. And I had to lie down there. And as I lied down, they said, now they are connecting me with the spirit of the dead. And I lied down and they left. And they said, we'll come and take you. You know, I had this fear and say, if the community can just come and find me in that kind of a setting, they will say, here we have found a witch straight. Because you can imagine a naked man, a young man in the grave, a man who is sane, a man who grew up well, but here you are, a South African national. You can just imagine, where do you come from? I come from South Africa. You don't speak their language, you speak maybe Sotho or Venda. So they will think, how did you come here? They will just imagine that maybe you came with a broom or you came with a half bread or, you know, all these stories. But that was the situation. But suddenly the protection of God was there also. Nobody came and up until these guys, they came and said, now you are strong. And from then they gave me a flower and said, this flower I should put it in my office and I should put some sweets on it and I will pour milk on this flower because it represents the spirit of the dead child that I was sleeping on that grave. And sometimes I will, in my house where I stayed, I had a room where nobody could enter. Now in that room, I would put all these calabashes, all these powers there because of I realized that they wanted their own space. Now sometimes I could hear the sound of a child crying in the house. I mean, not my children because they will be asleep, but I could hear the sound of a child crying, and I knew those were demonic forces coming from where I took those powers from. So that is what happened.